Hello and a very warm welcome here live from Corfu down in Garitza Bay for the Literary Festival 2019, a special from our out and about road trip here on Corfu. And I'm very lucky to be joined today by Adrian Mowell.
Oh, hello, Thomas. That's very nice of you to say so. Lucky? Are you sure you haven't got the poison chalice?
No. It's all good. It's all great, man. You've done very, very well. And what a fantastic day. So hello for everybody who switches on, logged in to watch us here live from Corfu. We at Garitza Bay, as you can see here on the screen at the moment, is the beautiful windmill of Garitza Bay. And when I switch over to the camera, here you can see beautiful Garitza Bay.
It really is an iconic shot, isn't it? And we should say a big thank you to the Anemomylos restaurant, cafe, bar, which is a building recently refurbished, beautifully designed. You can't miss it because it's standing right next to the iconic windmill.
Yes, exactly. We here live from the Anemomylos restaurant, cafe and cocktail bar here, Garitza. You can't miss that. So if you're anywhere close, you want a fantastic cocktail, you want something nice to eat, or just a brilliant coffee, don't hesitate. Come here to Anemomylos and enjoy a fantastic view. And if you're lucky, you even run into us.
Well, not so sure about the lucky bit, but yes, we'd love to talk to you, and your comments are very valid here on SK. And we have had an exciting week, really, Thomas, because we're here to promote the wonderful Corfu Literary Festival 2019, now in its second year.
Exactly. We had a fantastic afternoon. We set up earlier today to get some fantastic interviews. What a great opportunity for us, for StudioKerkyra and this beautiful island, to have such great, talented people here at the moment. And I'm talking about the Literary Festival. A lot of authors come here, the also 11s, and so on. Names. But you got much more information.
Well, a little bit more, but there's some really big names this week, including Sebastian Faulks, who is appearing, tomorrow night in conversation with, I think, Alex Preston, who's also a big name. Tom Holland is a very big-selling author, and he's going to be here, I think, the day after that. Peter Frankopan, who is phenomenally successful with his book about the Silk Road, which has been described by a Berlin magazine as perhaps one of the most important books in decades. He's going to be here on Friday, I do believe. There's a bit of cricket at the Gouvier cricket pitch, which is very important because the Authors 11 are here on tour together in conjunction with the Corfu Literary Festival. All this is being put on by the wonderful Annabelle and Nikos Louvros, together with Alex Preston and a bit of help from the lovely Emma O'Brien, working in London to bring all these wonderful authors and cricketers together to talk, work and play on this beautiful island of Corfu. And I don't know about you, Thomas, but I can't imagine a more stunning location for such an event.
Definitely not. I mean, when you just look the history of this island, especially with the Reading Society, the oldest reading society in the world.
Yes.
I mean, and what Nikos and Annabelle are doing is great, is going really stepping back into literature on this beautiful island.
It certainly is. And you mentioned there the Reading Society, which actually is the oldest continuous reading society in the whole world. Started out in 1836, would you believe? And the whole festival started off on Monday evening, which was a lecture, should have been by, or a discussion, I should say, with Adam Nicholson and his book about Homer's legacy. But unfortunately, Mr. Nicholson was, stumbled by Thomas Cook, grounding all their flights. Unfortunately, tragic story after 180 years of good service to the travelling public, Thomas. But that's another story. But in the true sense of the show must go on, Alex Preston stepped in, and we had a fabulous talk with a lovely lady called Polizeni, who is an academic from Athens University, to tell us the importance of Homer and his relevance today. I went along to that lecture, and I think, Thomas, I learnt a few things.
Yeah, did you enjoy the lecture?
I did. I keep saying lecture. That's wrong. It was a relaxed discussion, and in case you're wondering, people at home, yes, the audience were given plenty of time to ask questions and to interact with the two speakers. It went on for about an hour, and it's such a beautiful location inside the Reading Society.
The Reading Society inside is beautiful. I know. I've been in there. Was lucky enough to film one day, and it's great. And we're probably lucky enough to do that again through that literary festival, a long day, long day.
Not enough coffees, I think, is the answer to that
No,
one.
not at the moment.
But there's plenty more events coming up, and as I mentioned, we've got tonight there's a discussion about the importance of Corfu and cricket. Cricket was first played here from 1823 when the Royal Navy were here playing against a British Army garrison in Corfu town. The locals were taken by this game. They didn't know what to call it, and they affectionately called it Block and Wallop, which is quite an interesting name.
It's
isn't
quite interesting, isn't
Yes.
it? But sorry, man, but we made interviews today. We've been here early today, and we were lucky enough to run into fantastic people. And one of the fantastic people is Francis Edmonds.
Yes, she was so wonderful to talk to, a font of information, a best-selling authoress, and a keen advocate for cricket. She's also a public speaker and spent many years, would you believe, translating at a very high level for the EU and the World Business Forum. So she knows her onions. She speaks 5 languages. She has a passion for cricket and a passion for literature, but also a passion for Corfu. And actually, Thomas, that's the one thing that stood out with everybody we've spoken to do with the Corfu Literary Festival. Everybody here loves Corfu.
Definitely, everybody is so excited and so in love with this island, and right so, because it's a fantastic, beautiful island. But second interview, and that was very, very interesting. We're gonna show you the interviews in a short while, very, very soon.
Yes.
What a man, Anthony McGann.
Oh, absolutely. He was fantastic and stimulating to talk to. He's written an amazing book. Well, it hasn't actually hit the shelves yet, but it's coming out next month, he was telling me, called Philosophy for Your Dog. He's going to be closing this literary festival on Sunday at the famous and beautiful Capodistrias Museum just outside Corfu town, and I think the show there starts at 6 o'clock. I think we may have misinformed you, and I do apologise in the interview there for starting at 8, but actually it's starting at 6 o'clock at the Capodistrias Museum this Sunday. So an audience...
We're going to confirm that again.
Yes, but an audience with Anthony McGowan, and I don't think he's brought his dog with him though, Thomas.
I can lend him one of mine, it's not a problem.
And you know what, Thomas, a thought's occurred to me now a bit late in the day, but when I was sitting there in this beautiful place at Karitsa Bay interviewing or talking and chatting to Anthony McGowan...
What a privilege.
It was indeed. I forgot to ask him, does that also equally equate to teaching philosophy to your cat?
I don't know. I mean, you can try
I should have asked him.
Buy the book
Yes,
and try
okay.
it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. See if it relates to the cat, because I think the cat could tell us a few things about philosophy myself, actually.
Yeah, probably. But okay. But the whole interview started off with the fabulous Nikos Louvros, and of course Annabelle Louvros. We got Nikos on the camera. That's the organizers here, including Mr. Preston, is co-founder of the literary festival here on Corfu. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go straight over, if you like, and we show the clip of the interview you did with Nikos earlier.
Yes, that's great.
How do you like anyway to being this afternoon with so many famous people, so many people who achieved such
a hell of a lot
greatness?
more than I have. I was quite overawed, but I have to say one thing that shone out, all of them were wonderful human beings and made it much easier for me because they were so relaxed and it was just a sheer pleasure and joy to talk to them, Thomas.
Definitely. And here is the interview earlier of today with Nikos Louvros.
I'm joined now by Nikos Lavros, who's one of the organisers of the Corfu Literary Festival running this week here on the beautiful island of Corfu, together with his wife Annabelle and Alex Preston. Nico, what was the original inspiration for creating this wonderful literary event?
The idea came because 10 years ago we started cricket, bringing teams from England, and the idea was to reconnect Corfu with England, with the ties we have.
Okay.
The ties were cricket and also literature. When we found that one team called the Authors 11 could come to Corfu, we jumped on the chance and we brought them last year and we started the festival that is cricket and literature.
I see.
And that's where it is. I want to get Corfu back to what it used to be. It was the city between East and West where two different civilizations meet. That's what we did.
I see, that's the inspiration. And last year was the first year you held this literary festival. How did that go?
Surprisingly well. This year is going far, far better because quite a few quite a lot actually. Newspapers and magazines in England are writing about it,
Brilliant.
and it's great.
Yes, brilliant. You've got some big names here. You've got Sebastian Folks, Tom Holland, all sorts of people.
Peter Frankopan.
Peter Frankopan, yes, that's right. And he's just here for a day. And then most of them are playing cricket and giving lectures and discussions in various places, aren't they?
That's exactly what's happening. We had the first one. We lost because of Thomas Cook, one of the big names, of course. Adam Nicholson, but everybody is here, so we have really good time, and we continue. This is the third day today. Yesterday went very, very well in the public library. The very first day was up in Reading Society. Today we're having a day of cricket, talking with Francis Edmonds,
yes,
who is the expert writer about what's happening in cricket rules, having written books about it. And 3 more days, ending with Anthony McGowan talking to his dog about philosophy.
that should be good.
In the Museum of Capodistria. That's going to be a beautiful, beautiful setting.
Fantastic. And did these star writers and philosophers, did they have much arm twisting to come here, or was it quite easy?
No, they were very, very pleased to I mean, Frankopan, for example, sent us an email this winter saying, I want the exact dates, because even if I come for a day, I want to be there.
That's fantastic.
So that's
absolute
best.
Yes. So there's still lots more going on in the next few days, isn't there?
Absolutely, yes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed for
You're welcome.
giving us an introduction.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, Nico.
Yes, wasn't he an interesting man? And you might have gathered from that interview, he's really passionate about the connection of cricket, Corfu and writers, which is hardly surprising since the Authors 11, the most prolific touring cricket team there is here this week in conjunction with the Corfu Literary Festival, both of which have been organised by Nikos Louvros and his good wife Annabelle.
Definitely a great interview, great man, a lot of vision and a lot of passion with him. So, and this was a great thing. But brings me on over, and you're still here. Welcome to everybody who just joined us. That's a live broadcast, roadshow, special roadshow for the Literary Festival 2019 here in Corfu Town. And what you see is the beautiful view over Goritza Bay. And thank you for watching, guys. Just saying hello quickly to Thomas Zimmermann. He says good evening aus Ahrensburg. So einen wunderschönen guten Abend hier von Corfu zu dir, Thomas Zimmermann. Hoffe, es gefällt dir. So, just quickly, because we're multicultural, we have to do that.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend, yeah. And from Finland, Army from Finland is here. Good evening to you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Haiva Elta Army. Lovely to be seeing you again.
Definitely. And that brings us on. And over to the second fantastic interview, what has directly to do with this evening's reading.
Yes, this was the lovely and amazing and enchanting Frances Edmonds, who was married to a cricketer, Phil Edmonds. I think he was famous for the English cricket team. But she's actually spent a lifetime in doing public speaking, writing books, and she was billed by the Times, actually, as being Britain's best female after-dinner speaker. And listening to her talk, I reckon she probably is. She has a passion for cricket and a passion for literature and absolutely a passion for Corfu. She did highlight in her little chat the importance of well-being, and you will hear that for yourselves.
Definitely. Let's go over to the clip now.
I'm joined now by Frances Edmonds. Hello, Frances. Welcome to the Corfu Literary Festival. Tell me, how did you get involved?
The Corfu Literary Festival, the Corfu Cricket and Literary Festival.
So sorry,
Here
yes.
is the rub. Now, two great friends of mine, Annabelle and Nikos Louvros, who are Corfiots. Nico is Corfiot, Annabelle is English. Started this festival and I wanted to support them. Now, many years ago in 1985, I wrote a book, Another Bloody Tour, and it was the story of a wife, because my husband at that stage was playing cricket for England, and I went on a cricket tour, the disastrous England cricket tour to the West Indies in 1985-86, where England lost everything against the West Indies. This became the Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll tour, and my book became an overnight bestseller. On the basis of that, the publisher sent me to Australia the next year, where I wrote another cricket book, which was called Cricket 4X Cricket. So, because cricket has come back to Corfu, we can talk about that a little bit in a moment, Annabelle and Nico decided to invite me to speak on a panel here at the Corfu Cricket and Literary Festival about what cricket means to the island of Corfu, the history of cricket on the island, and what cricket is all about, and why it is a game that the Corfiots, more than any other Greeks, have taken to their bosoms and
That's
embraced.
true, isn't it? I read somewhere that they originally called it block and wallop or something.
Block and wallop, and they also still call it play. I mean, in England
Really?
nowadays, you say you've had a good day's play means you have a good day's cricket. The glossary of cricket on the island of Corfu is extraordinary. It has Italian vocabulary in it, French vocabulary in it, English vocabulary in it. It's a real
Fantastic.
diversity
Oh,
of
wonderful.
language, all part of Corfu cricket. Let me tell you the story.
Go on,
Let me
quickly.
tell you the story of the history of cricket in Corfu.
Gosh.
What nobody seems to realise is that if Napoleon Bonaparte, French Napoleon Bonaparte, the Emperor of France, had he not had a serious case of thrombosed hemorrhoids, cricket would never have ended up
Really?
in Corfu. Because he had an acute case of thrombosed hemorrhoids, he could not sit on his charger, on his horse, his wonderful horse. He therefore yielded the topographical advantage of Waterloo to Wellington. Wellington won the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, and because of that, in the Treaty of Vienna, the French lost the Ionian Islands to Britain,
Right.
and Corfu became British. We then put a British garrison on the island.
Yeah.
Of course, inexorably, wherever there is a British garrison, the Navy used to come in, they used to play cricket against one another. The Corfiots saw this extraordinary game and took it to their bosoms, and it's been played here ever since.
That's right, 1823 I think. was the first game.
1823, so in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, you're going to have the 200th year
Yes.
anniversary of cricket on Corfu, and that will be something worth celebrating.
And hopefully you'll be back
I
to...
most certainly shall be back.
Good one,
I have every
Francis. Good
intention
one.
of coming
Yes.
back for that.
I read somewhere that you were voted by the Times, I think it was, as being the funniest female after-dinner speaker.
Well, thank you very much for that. Yes, that was some time ago, and indeed they did. But we'll see if we live up to that this evening
I'm
at the
sure
panel
you will.
discussion.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just to remind our viewers, you're hosting an event tonight, is that right?
This evening we're having a panel discussion at the Gymnastikos Athletic Club, and it will be a couple of us talking about the history of cricket on the island of Corfu and its impact on the life and culture of Corfu. And I'm really looking forward to that conversation.
That's fantastic. And is this your first time here on Corfu?
No, I came here 10 years ago at the invitation of Annabelle and Nico when they were just learning about cricket, and they've become real fundies on the art of cricket since then. There's a wonderful charity called the Lord's Taverners, which is a combination of celebrity sort of business people and celebrity sort of showbiz people and cricketers. It's the charitable arm of cricket, and they came to Corfu some years ago, and we resurrected that sort of interest in the Lord's Taverners, and it's through that then we have the wonderful Authors 11 who are here as we speak, and will be joining me on the panel discussion this evening.
Fantastic, and I believe the Authors 11 are the most prolific touring company of cricket team anywhere in the world.
There's certainly an extraordinary cricket team. It was founded by P.G. Woodhouse some years ago, and there are some phenomenal writers in the mix, and you'll hear about that from people better versed than I am in the Authors 11 who's playing on their prop card this time, and some phenomenal cricketers and some great characters. So I'm really looking forward to my conversations this evening.
There's always great characters here on this wonderful island of Corfu.
The other thing is this: why is that cricket, a very abstruse game when you think about it, why was it that the Corfiots embraced this
That's a
game?
good question.
And I have just come from Stanford University. I've been spending 18 months there researching the issue of longevity, longer life. We're all living longer now. And the three pillars underpinning a long and happy life are wellness and purpose and community. And if you look at it, Corfu, I mean, I never feel happier than when I'm on the island of Corfu. Wellness. You just feel well in your skin. Wellness and purpose and community. Cricket is about wellness, being relatively fit enough to play the game. Purpose, there's a purpose in playing the game. In community, it's an extraordinary game because it's a team game where because it's a game that takes a long time, everybody gets to know one another very well. Look at this extraordinary island too, because you know yourself, why have you moved to Corfu?
Exactly.
It's an extraordinary island. People, the hospitality, the sense of purpose. I was shopping today and some lady said to me, I was just buying a small piece of jewellery for my daughter, and she said, yes, we buy from one another, we only buy Greek, we help one another. Community, the hospitality, the community, the sense of purpose here. I mean, it really is a place where it's not surprising to me that cricket took off big time.
That's good, and it is the only place really in the whole of Greece that cricket has such a high profile. Isn't
Yes,
it?
I mean, it's played in Athens, I believe, but here it's the Corflots, the actual association. Most of the sporting associations, you know, have their headquarters in Athens, but the Cricket Association has its headquarters here in Corfu.
That's a good point,
which
Francis.
is a very important point.
Yes, and someone was telling me the other day that they're actually teaching cricket in schools, the beginning of the secondary schools here.
They are, apparently.
Which is wonderful, isn't it?
And not only that, women's cricket is taking off
Yes,
here, and I
yes.
believe next year they're going to have women's cricket teams from all over the world
Wow.
coming here. So this is it's just taking
Yes.
off in everybody has the right.
Will we
to play.
be lucky enough to see you playing, do you think?
I'm not the kind of person to play anymore.
No.
I think I've had my heyday in terms
But
of
you
playing.
used to play.
I never did play,
No.
no. At school I used to play hockey and I
Okay.
swim a bit, but I've never played
But you're
cricket.
definitely a cricket enthusiast.
I'm an out-and-out enthusiast for everything that it represents. Beyond the game, what do they know of cricket? Who only cricket knows? The great C.L.R. James, the great the great cricket writer and philosopher once wrote. It's not just about the game, it's about everything above and beyond the game. The wellness, the purpose, the community, the beating heart of cricket and the beating heart of Corfu.
That's fantastic. Well, Francis, may we wish you the best of luck for tonight's
Thank you very
discussion.
much, David.
Hope it all goes well for you.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for welcoming me to your
You're
glorious
very
island.
welcome, and enjoy the rest of your time on this beautiful island.
Thank you.
Well, that was the fabulous Frances. And if you're interested, if you'd like to see a little bit more of Frances, she'll be in discussion tonight with Charlie Campbell and John Houghton, both of the Orphers 11. And they'll all be appearing tonight at 8 o'clock at the Gymnastikos Athletic Club in Corfu town, which I do believe, Thomas, is next to the Municipal Theatre, is it not?
That's smack bang next to the Municipal Theatre in Corfu town. Very well done, Adrian.
I got that right. I was on a wig and a prayer there, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you. But she was absolutely fabulous and a very intelligent and charming lady who actually spent, I think, 15 years being the EU's top interpreter, understanding 5 languages, I do believe.
5 languages.
And she's made a name for herself, actually, in after-dinner speaking. She was voted by the Times as being the best female after-dinner speaker in the United Kingdom, would you believe?
So, and you people out there are very, very lucky. So, if you have nothing better to do, get ready, get dressed, get whatever, but go to this fantastic event. I mean,
Yes,
she
it's
was
about-
great.
she
Just
was.
the interview, how easy it was for us to interview, and how much fun we had this afternoon. I have to say that it was great, and it's a great honor to sit with everybody together.
You can say that again, Thomas. It certainly was indeed. But she was lovely and wonderfully free-flowing with the conversation. She could talk for Greece, Australia, England and everywhere else in one, I think. She was wonderful and charming. And if you'd like to see more of her, she's in discussion tonight, and it's all about cricket, would you believe? It's called The Place, Story and Spirit of Cricket on Corfu. And of course, as you probably know by now, that goes back to 1823.
And the whole thing is the Gymnastico Athletic Club Corfu town next to the beautiful Municipal Theatre, and it starts at 8 p.m.
Yes, absolutely. She was absolutely great. Hopefully we can catch up with her again another time.
Definitely. What brings me on now to the next thing, what is very, very exciting. This was the last interview of the day we did, and what a great, I can tell you now, that's gonna be a fantastic event on Sunday the 29th of September at the Capitalisters Museum.
Yes, I do believe it is, and I think we got the time wrong there in the interview. It's actually at 6 o'clock, I do believe, on the Sunday. It's the final event of this literary
It says
festival this year.
6 o'clock,
6
but
o'clock,
we
yes.
can confirm that, and we can update people.
Yes, but that should be a good event. Anthony McGowan was absolutely delightful to talk to, a real down-to-earth human being with a lovely touch to him, and great conversationalist. Really could have talked to him for hours and hours.
Definitely, it was a great afternoon, and the interviews we catched are very important for the island.
Absolutely, and it's all about bringing UK and Greece together, the love that they share of the arts, and Corfu, possibly of many Greek islands or places in Greece, is the most amazing, stimulating and inspirational island or place for artists. So many have graced these shores with their presence. Everyone from Edward Lear, possibly Shakespeare, Linton, the artist, Solomos, the great Dionysius Solomos, the Greek author who wrote Hymn of Liberty, which is the text of the Greek national anthem. And interestingly, Thomas, when when we were talking to Nikos earlier on, he said to me that actually the Greek national anthem is the longest national anthem of any country. I said, what, even more than Brazil? And he assured me that it was. But you know that from Formula One, that the Brazilian anthem goes on a bit.
Grand Prix always overruns by 5 minutes.
Yes. But the reason why he mentioned it is because Dionysus Solomos lived and worked on this wonderful island. So did the man that actually composed the Olympic anthem and the Greek national anthem music as well. He was here. So many artists have graced their presence on these shores, and I think it is a wonderful source of inspiration. Hence, the driving force behind this literary event that we're covering today, the Corfu Literary Event, which this year is in its second year. Last year it was a small band of speakers. This year, I've lost count of them. There must be at least 15 or 16 speakers in all, maybe more than that. All of them touching on literature, philosophy, which is big here, and of course, cricket.
Great. And should we have a quick look at your great interview this afternoon with Anthony McGowan?
Absolutely. The great Anthony McGowan, I think.
I'm now joined by Anthony McGowan, who's a prolific author and touches on philosophy. Welcome, Anthony. How did you first get involved with the Corfu Literary Festival?
Well, I came last year to the inaugural festival.
All right.
As part of a cricket team. And I was also talking about a book I wrote called The Art of Failing. And I kind of came here not knowing much about the festival or about the island itself. Fell in love with both. And here I am again.
Absolutely, and it's easy to see why it didn't take much persuasion to come back this year.
Not at all.
No. And this year you're here doing a lecture or talk on philosophy, I believe.
When you say lecture, makes it sound very dry.
No. A discussion, maybe.
Discussion, yes.
Right, and that's about philosophy?
It is, yes. I wrote a book, my latest book, it's called How to Teach Philosophy to Your Dog.
Very handy indeed, I'm sure.
It was a bit of a diversion for me. Most of my life I've got a career as a writer. I've been writing books for children and young adults.
Yes.
But back in the day I studied philosophy for quite a long time, and I had all this massive philosophical knowledge in my head. Was sort of trapped in there, and I wanted an outlet for it, so I wrote this book.
Brilliant, and Corfu is, I'm sure, a stimulus for that.
The ancient Greek world, of course,
yes,
was at the heart of philosophy.
Exactly, yes. And one of your books that you wrote, I think a teenage book, was called Henry Tumour, which struck me as a very difficult subject to write about.
Yeah, well, it's a comedy about a brain tumour, so slightly unusual.
Exactly. How was that received?
Very well. It won various awards.
Great.
It is meant to be a kind of graphic comedy, but about this very serious subject, which I suppose was what most of my teenage books tried to do, to combine the kind of high and the low. So in fact, actually, most of my teenage books do involve quite a lot of philosophy. My first book for teenagers was a book called Hellbent, which is about a teenage boy who dies and goes to hell.
Ooh. And
the story is about finding out why he went to hell. So there are long debates about ethics in there.
Right.
So I've always tried to incorporate philosophical themes in my fiction.
Okay, yes. And so what do you do now in England? You're a full-time writer, as it were?
Yep. For my sins. Full-time writer and parent, of course.
And parent, yes. I'm sure that's busy.
I teach a bit of creative writing as well. Basically, my life is sitting in a room and typing.
But, well, yes, that's not too bad, I suppose. And here in such a beautiful place, that probably comes a little bit easier to you.
Yes, well, I suppose in some ways the writer's life is quite a lonely one. So, as I say, my job is quite solitary. So it's actually a total joy to come to a place like this and to chat with other writers. Yeah. But also I think what's great about this festival is that there's no barrier between the performers, the writers, and the audience.
That's right, they're all about bringing them together.
Absolutely. So after each event we go out and we have a drink with the audience.
Fantastic.
And if you go to the big UK festivals, Edinburgh and Cheltenham and Hay, there is that kind of slight gap between you and the audience. After an event at the Edinburgh Festival, you don't go drinking with Margaret Atwood. But here,
that would be good.
I'd be very sad if after my event on Sunday, if the audience didn't come and carry on the conversation with me.
That's fantastic, actually, and that's opening up literature and books to the masses,
exactly.
What we want to do. Yes, and you're going to be drawing the festival to a close with your discussion on Sunday night at the Capodistris Museum.
That's right. Yes,
and that's all about how to teach philosophy to your dog.
It is. It's going to be, I hope, an interactive conversation, not only between me and my interviewer, but also between me and the audience. I'm going to try very much to draw the audience in, to make them consider some of these deep and profound ethical problems.
Fantastic. And I should just point out that you're a bit of a cricketer as well, and you're part of the Authors 11.
Yes.
Opening batsman for
Opening
your
batsman,
sins.
yes.
Yeah. Well, there's this tremendous connection, isn't there, between the Authors 11 and cricket, going right back to the early days of the Authors Club.
That's right. You know, it was an historical thing that had very famous writers back in the day. Arthur Conan Doyle was one of their early big members. So, and it was reformed, the club, back 7 or 8 years ago now, by Charlie Campbell and Nicholas Hogg, who kind of resurrected the corpse of the Authors team.
Fantastic.
Brought all these writers together, and it's been a huge part of our lives ever since.
Wonderful. And Annabelle and Nikos Lavros have done so much to bring the Authors 11 together with this literature festival. It's fantastic. So we look forward to hearing your discussion on Sunday night, bringing this wonderful literary festival to a close at the Capodistrias Museum on Sunday night.
At 8 o'clock?
I think it's 8 o'clock, yes. Thank you very much, Franklin, for explaining a few things
My
to us.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, as you heard there, he was such an interesting and fascinating gentleman to talk to, and it struck me that philosophy is almost running through his blood.
What a fantastic man. So I really enjoyed this afternoon. Sorry. I know we were setting up, we had a little bit of a problem, as you can see in the background. Here, the beautiful Garitza Bay, and here you got the windmill of Garitza. And before we started interviewing, there were a lot of sunbathers around, so we had to change our camera angles to figure out how to set out, where to set up, just so not to offend anyone. But what a fantastic afternoon, what for a pleasure we had to meet these fantastic authors.
And we also, Thomas, had a little bit of problem with wind. We had to change the microphone, and that explains why I've had a bad hair day. So I'm terribly sorry, everybody, about my dreadful hair.
Yeah, and if we had anything with the sound, we apologize for that. I know the wind was coming in from different directions, constantly changed, but this is the beauty of this beautiful island of Corfu. You
Absolutely.
have everything here, and you still can enjoy a fantastic day. It doesn't matter what's happening here, really.
No, and if it's raining 1 minute, you can bet your bottom euro that the next hour it won't be raining and the sun will be shining. That's how it is here, an island full of microclimates.
Great. No, it is, definitely. So, and that brings us nearly to our end of this road trip out and about special for the Literary Festival 2019. Maybe we just run down now quickly what is still to come this week.
That's a good idea.
We start off with this evening again. So it's Wednesday, 25th of September, the place of story and spirit of cricket on Corfu.
Yes, that's at the Gymnastikos Athletic Club, starting at 8 p.m. in Corfu town. Tomorrow, Thursday the 26th, it's called Capturing Time, Writing History, where the very famous Sebastian Faulks author is in conversation with Alex Preston, and that's hosted at the beautiful Corfu Reading Society, starting from 7:30.
Then on day 5, Friday 27th of September, cricket, Authors 11 versus Corfu Select 11 at Corfu Marina Cricket Pitch. I think it's going to start around 10, 11 o'clock, but times will be confirmed.
Okay, and later on that day there is a thing called a Festival Literary Quiz. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Hosted and presented by Nicholas Hogg, who actually is one of the founding members of the reformed Authors 11 here, and that's billed as an hour of fun, but better start revising now.
Great, this is Corfu Reading Society, 6 p.m. and followed by Western Dominion and Eastern Influence, Tom Holland and Peter Frankopan, chaired by Elizabeth Speller at the Corfu Reading Society at 7:30.
Yes, and Nikos was telling me that that could be very well a major highlight of this festival, because Peter Frankopan went down so well last year. He was one of the very few that were here in their inaugural event, and apparently Tom Holland at the moment is riding the crest of a wave, a very successful international best-selling author. So I think being Corfu between East and West, that could be a very interesting discussion indeed.
Definitely. Gets on to the 28th of September, Saturday, day 6. There's another cricket match. Cricket Authors, the Author 11 versus Corfu Athletic Club, again at the Corfu Marina Cricket Pitch. Time to be confirmed. Gonna be a morning start, probably around 10, 11 again. And then on the same day,
Yes, we don't know the time of this, but it's called the Gardens of Corfu Island, where we have Rachel Weaving in discussion with Alex Preston again. Rachel Weaving is a gardening expert, has written many books on the subject, and I also believe has featured in BBC's Gardener's World.
And that's followed by short stories, collection and assemblage from Jim Botts and Elizabeth Speller in conversation with Charlie Campbell at the Municipal Art Gallery, place of St. Michael and St. George, 7 p.m. and 8:30.
Yes, 2 for the same day there. 2 for 1, that's good, isn't it?
It's a fantastic day, Saturday.
Yes, and one thing before I forget to say, we do believe that each individual event, the tickets are on priced at €7 each. Bringing us to the last closing day, which is day 7, Sunday the 29th of September, where it's all about philosophy. Why does it matter? That's a discussion by Anthony McGowan, who you've just seen in our interview there, and that is held at the beautiful Capodistrias Museum just outside Corfu town at 6 p.m, we do believe.
So what a fantastic week ahead and what a great lineup. Wow, I mean, that's really special for this island. So many people, so many famous people, so many famous authors visiting and let you take part. As you say, after the readings, Anthony said after the readings is they're always happy to have a drink with a fan or something.
Yes, that's a good point, Thomas. He was very big on that point, and I know Nikos is as well, that the whole raison d'etre, if you like, running behind the Corfu Literary Festival is to bring literature to not just the highbrow, the intellectuals or the academics, but to everyone. And they're really encouraging normal people like you and me to sit down at a table over a glass of wine or a bit of food and talk to these very famous and influential speakers that we've been lucky enough to get on the island here this week throughout the Corfu Literary Festival, all down thanks to Annabelle, Nikos and Emma O'Brien, of course. But it's great that the cricket is coming here as well. It keeps alive the cricket tradition here on the island of Corfu. So really, it's a wonderful, potentially winning event, isn't it, really, Thomas, I think?
Definitely, and you know what, it's great for the people to take part, to come, to enjoy this fantastic opportunity to meet these great authors, and to be honest, from year to year this is getting better and better, and it's a great, fantastic event.
It certainly is, and I'll just read you a couple of lines from the programme just to whet your appetite. That I think is rather poetic, and it says this: when the island is a riot of late summer flowers, her seas at their warmest and the sun a little gentler, come and join us in a celebration of this extraordinary cultural heritage. That's what the programme said, and I think they're near the mark there, because there is this wonderful connection between the UK and Corfu, centred around most definitely with the arts, but also with anyone else who wants to travel the world. Corfu is definitely a place to visit and to enjoy and indulge in. It's just a wonderful island, as everyone that we've met to do with the Corfu Literary Festival and the Authors 11 cricket team will attest to. No pun intended with that one, by the way.
But another fantastic day comes to a close. We here live at Geritza Bay, so you can just see the fantastic windmill, and the sun is setting, and what colors are just presenting themselves.
It is indeed, and you can see the Greek mountains in the background, and there in the background there, the iconic old citadel of old fort, of course, of Corfu town. But in the way background is the highest point on the island, Mount Pantokrator, I do believe.
Yes, it is. You can see this nicely in the background. But that's all we have time for today. So if you don't have anything better to do, I can't say anything better to do. If you want to experience something special, very, very special, log on to the Corfu Literary Festival and have a look. They're also on Facebook. There is the whole itinerary of events.
Yes, also on their websites. Yes, they have two websites. There's cricketcorfu.com or simply corfuliteraryfestival.com. Both full of information, photographs of the people who are appearing as well, and times and places of the venues.
But for us, at the moment, we can say thank you to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed that. And we started your appetite, so you know what's happening. Visit Corfu Town, go to one of these fantastic events and indulge. But for me now, at the moment, thank you very much for watching. Good night, Kali Nichter.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for sharing your time, and we hope we brought you a little aperitif of this Corfu Literary Festival. And as always, a very good day to you all.